Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's podcast. I shouldn't say this week. We haven't been recording much. So this episode of the podcast, wonderful to have you with us. And sorry we haven't been recording. We've had a couple of messages online asking us where we've been. But with the schedules and us wanting to rethink the podcast, it's taken a little bit longer for us to get back online. But we are here. And in fact, we were actually wanting to record over the weekend because we're missing putting the podcast together. And we've had many messages about people asking for the pod. So welcome to the Expansive. Fantastic to have you with us. Thank you for being with us for so long and for so many years. If you have been listening for so long, and we got a great podcast episode ahead of us. But before we get started, just a quick check-in with my co-pilot Eric. What's happening down there in Cape Town? How you doing?
Hey, bro. Yeah, all good, all good. We are recording on Monday. Tomorrow is a public holiday
in South Africa.
It's been in South Africa.
Our listeners are worldwide, bro. Worldwide. Don't forget.
Yeah, I sometimes forget.
Yes.
But so Dan is also coming back. She's been in Germany for about a month now, to be honest.
Wow, has it been that long, Eric? Jeez, yeah, that's a lot of home cooking, bachelor home cooking, boerewors rolls, eh? That's what you've been eating for a month.
I send her the pictures of my meals, and she's just like, "I need to come home. I need to come and feed you." But also, I've realized I can eat very simply. You know, I think we've actually spoken about this, but I can eat very simply, and I'm pretty okay with that. It's been interesting. The routines and rituals of the pups have changed quite a bit. Like with her not being here, they've been jumping into the bed in the mornings, and like I end up spending more. Usually, I get up very early because I need to get my meditation.
Well, the pups are with her in the bed. Yeah, they're with her in the bed.
Well, typically, Jaeger would stay in the room, and Atlas and I would go downstairs, and I would do my meditation, journal, all that kind of stuff. And then by the time she wakes up, then I'm sort of like ready. But with her gone and me alone with the pups, they jump into bed and like they come and cuddle with me, and then it's just
of course,
I can't get up. I can't get up. I'm too cozy.
Can I make a suggestion? Don't get up.
Yeah,
that is special time,
I haven't
bro.
been getting up.
No, that is a special time. I remember my time with Superdog. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
no, I've just been reveling in it. I almost use it as a bit of a gratitude practice. Like I'll just lie there and just be like, so grateful for this.
I think that's great. That's great. Sometimes when I don't feel like meditating, I also go into a conversation of all the things I'm grateful for and put myself into that state. I just did one now. I did a half an hour before this recording. Just put yourself into the state of appreciation and receivership, you know?
That's it.
It's a wonderful practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a
wonderful practice. And then like this morning we did that, and then I got up and I still did a meditation, did the 30 like changing boxes one with Meilan. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, so all good, man. Calendar busy, filling up, recording quite a bit of content. So yeah, all good on my side. What's happening for you?
Yeah, good. I'm just back in Dubai for a few days. I'm on my way to Monaco, Nice, New York, and Dominican Republic. So I'm gone for the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks. I'm looking forward to, I'm having a bit of a holiday Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm speaking for a client in Monaco on Thursday. It's great. I've never been to Monaco. It's a country I can tick off my box.
Amazing, dude.
Amazing. Jeez. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And also then Dominican Republic, I've also haven't been to. So I'm also looking forward to that. And then for my birthday, I'm spoiling myself and going to go see Bashar. If the listeners don't know who Bashar is, he's an alien that's been channeling through a human. I know that sounds super weird, but if you just switch on CNN and Fox News, you'll start to see that there's a lot of talk about aliens. I've just seen Disclosure Day, which was excellent. I give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, to keep you enthralled in a movie this day and age is very difficult. And this was a classic Spielberg epic movie. I absolutely loved it. And it had so many layered messages around aliens and interdimensional beings. So beautifully told.
But isn't the entire thing about aliens? I mean...
Well, you think it is. It actually is.
Okay.
It's layered. It's very layered. Okay. The alien part of it is a part of it, but it's very, very layered.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go see Bashar live. He's doing a full day in New York. So on the way back from Dominican Republic, I've spoiled myself for my birthday. And funny enough, a friend of mine I met in Costa Rica 2-3 years ago, she messages me and says, John, I just want to let you know I'm following my highest excitement and I've booked myself into Bashar on the 27th of June. I was like, are you joking? I'm also going. She's like, no way. I'm like, great. I'm going to see you there. So doing that, and then back to Dubai, and then actually coming to South Africa. I'm doing quite a bit of work in South Africa. Got a couple of
Okay,
gigs
cool.
happening there, and going to be chilling in South Africa for a bit, and then we'll see what happens from then. I always tell my friends or my team, we'll plan like a schedule and a flight schedule and everything. We'll get everything done, and then we'll get one email. We'd like John in South Korea. We're like, okay, everybody back onto the table, change everything up. Okay, now we're going to South Korea. So we make plans, and then clients request, and then we have to change plans. So it's a great privilege. But that's what's coming up next.
I think it's worth telling the listeners, like Bashar's number one rule, because I think very often, I think we've spoken about this before. You kind of judge the messenger, or you judge the message based on the messenger. But I think even if you separate out, like even the worst people of our times have said good things, and even people that you really dislike say things that could really change your life and be transformational. And I know for Bashar has something that he says that has been transformational for you and for other people as well. You want to tell us about it?
Well, I mean, the first thing, the number one critic of Bashar, his name's Eric Kruger. Let's start there. But what I want to say is that you are more of a believer now than ever, but you're also very gracious in your lack of belief. You're not rude about your lack of belief, and your body, like some of my friends, when I used to speak about Bashar, used to roll their eyes, literally roll their eyes. I'm like, firstly, it's such a degrading perspective when your friends think you're an idiot. And I always think to myself, you think I'm amazing in all these aspects, but in this part, you think I'm an idiot. You don't have given me the benefit of the doubt in this sort of thing. And I know it's a bit weird when you just think all that stuff's weird, all that alien interdimensional things. You're like, whatever, it's not real. Anyway, I've always been a believer from a very young age. And I started listening to Bashar in 2014. And he's got these amazing lectures and he's been lecturing for 40 years on Earth. And
sure.
So he's been at this for a very, very long time, and now becoming more and more and more mainstream because you keep seeing more and more of his stuff all over the place. And now he's doing all these events around the world, and he's got a very clear rule. And what he says is the equation to get reality to work in its best format for you is for you to realize that your conscious mind doesn't understand outcomes. It wants to understand outcomes, but it's not actually designed to think about outcomes. It's designed to very much be in the moment, in the present, and right here, right now. And the way he describes it is, and I've said this many times on the podcast, is follow your highest excitement at every moment of every day with maximum enthusiasm, with zero expectation. He says, when you follow that formula, that is the golden thread of formulation that allows you to reach your highest level of potential. He says what happens to us, because we have expectations and we're addicted to certainty and outcomes, we block our potential. And he says you have to think about the fact that your oversoul, and he describes this in quite a lot of detail in his lectures, is that there's an oversoul with multiple tentacles of different souls having different experiences. And he says you are one of those tentacles. And he says your oversoul loves you more than you can understand and wants the best for you. Your oversoul's got the direction. All you need to do is follow your highest excitement, because excitement is the message that you are following what your mission on earth is about. And he said that everything that's exciting to you is not exciting to other people. So your uniqueness around what makes you excited and come alive is so unique to you. And that fingerprint is the golden thread of success in many ways. And so it's a major practice to get into that.
I love that. And you've been a good modeler of that type of behavior. And it's something that you've been speaking about since I've met you, really.
Yeah.
And I've seen you in practice with that as well. And it's really something that you've always kept coming back to, and something that I've tried to implement in my life as well. What is currently your highest excitement?
I mean, we were speaking offline about, things that, I think if I ultimately think about what I really want to do in life is have rover house hotels with dogs. That's kind of my ultimate goal to build these hotels and to help as many dogs around the world and to live with as many dogs around the world. I think it's coming sometime in the future. I don't think it's quite here yet. I think I have some work to do with my speaking as well, and there's some potential there still I need to fill into. But building the Rover House brand globally to help as many dogs as possible is by far, when I think about that, I come alive more than anything else. And it's funny because I think it's one of my only projects that is not about me. It's about something else.
Yes,
and the something else is a mission for me to try and help people see the intelligence of dogs and to appreciate their communication and appreciate what they bring to the world. And that mission for me, I've achieved with my mom. And I can see my mom as a very, one of the major things that I see with my mom is when the dogs used to bark, she used to get upset. Today, the dog can be right next to her and start barking, and she doesn't say anything. Doesn't say shut up, doesn't say keep quiet. She's like, yeah, he's protecting me. That's what he's doing. That's kind of what he's up to, So I think it's all about dogs. What is your highest excitement?
Well, before we get to me, I want to just go back to the pause that you had, because I think it's also important that sometimes you don't know that the highest excitement is in the moment. Like you can have a macro version of it, but like in the micro, you might feel like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's often sometimes one of the issues that I've had with purpose and all these sort of big driven words, where if you can't figure it out now, then you almost get into a stressed and anxious state because you don't know what it is. And that stressed and anxious state takes you even further away from figuring out what that excitement is going to be or what that purpose is going to be. And so you are currently sitting in a space where that excitement micro level isn't overtly obvious for you actually. But you're also not sitting in a state. Well, I want to know how you. Yes. I want to know how you sitting with that, because if someone is listening to this and they go, I don't immediately know what my highest excitement is.
Yeah.
I don't want them to get stressed about that. So how do you think about that?
Yes, it's a very good question. Very good question. Thank you for bringing it up. What Bashar explains is that weigh up all your options and which one's the most exciting out of all of your options. Even if it's not the most exciting thing, which one's the most exciting out of all of your options, and go there. Because you're going to have a conversation there, you're going to have a movement there, there's something going to happen there, and then move on to the next one. He says, but slowly but surely, you'll start to fine tune what it is that makes you most excited, and you'll go through phases. Some phases it's very clear, and some phases you're reestablishing. And we were saying offline, I feel like I'm in no man's land. I'm like in the wilderness. And this has been happening since November last year. It's like, I'm not quite who I used to be, and I'm not quite who I want to be yet. I'm kind of in this middle ground. So the level of excitement that's gotten me to this level of success is now having to figure out what the next project it is that I want to start applying this to. And everything that I've achieved up to date is based on me following my highest excitement. That has been the equation that I have been following. But it's just about what's next. So if I say to you, for example, today, like the next thing I can feel like is going to be keeping me excited is a gym session, a sauna session, and a walk. When I think about that, I'm like, yeah, that is what I really, I'm feeling like I'm wanting to do, So I'm going to go do that.
But
so
that's very useful, because the moment you think about excitement, like you follow your highest excitement, I think a very easy interpretation is it has to be a business thing. It has to be it has to be a project thing. And that reframe, I think, is highly valuable. The fact that you can say to me, your highest excitement is to go walk with your dogs, or your highest excitement could be to go spend time with your friends. Because it almost doesn't feel like that should be the highest excitement. Like it should be the thing that's going to make you money, or it's the thing that's going to help you adapt to whatever is happening in the world around you. But that changes the equation slightly.
But even you saying that is you're addicted to an outcome of following your highest excitement. You see, even the framing that you have there is addicted to an outcome. And we are so addicted to outcomes that we're scared to do anything that doesn't somehow get us to our outcome that we want to be at. And that's the problem, is that we think we want to be somewhere, but actually the truth is there's something much bigger for us at play. And that's what Bashar keeps saying. He says, you're actually blocking so much that's available to come to you, which you aren't accessing because of your addiction to some type of outcome that you're hoping. And so he's very clear on the fact that this oversoul that you have above you loves you more than you would know. He knows, or he or it knows your potential much deeper than you even understand it. And so you have to release into that. And that's really a great segue into what I want to talk about in the pod. But before we do, what's your excitement? Or do you want to talk about it? Or do you want to share about it? Or do you want to just interrogate what it is and how I work through it?
Well, I think my highest excitement at the moment is I'm really just loving being back into creating content. Like I'm feeling a flow there. And actually, the more I think about it, like I love being in front of the camera. And it's something that it's kind of dawned on me recently that there was a time when I was growing up, like primary schoolish, I was on stage all the time. I was I was in choir. I was in the East Rand boys choir.
Wow.
It was like the choir to be in.
Wow.
I was in plays. I was on the debate team. I was head boy. So I was always on stage.
Wow.
And then there was I think a switch got flicked at some point where I was like, that's not
puberty.
The cool thing to do.
Puberty.
Yeah, puberty. Yeah.
Puberty, bro.
Like that's not the cool thing to do. And then, obviously with me coming back to stage through Better Man and stuff, it was kind of reestablishing that. But the point that it's gotten me to now is like, I really just enjoy being in front of the camera. And I love watching people who are good at storytelling on YouTube. And when they put a lot of effort into creating these videos that just explains like how the world is operating. And like, the more I watch that, the more I'm attracted to creating that myself.
Nice.
So that's definitely my highest excitement at the moment. I'm enthralled by how people are telling stories through video. And I want to do a lot more of that. In fact, I'd love to spend a lot more time doing that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely my highest excitement at the moment from a business perspective. And then I guess in general, like I've been loving playing golf again a lot more, spending time with the pups. Yeah, I'd say those are my highest excitements at the moment.
Yeah, sounds good, bro. I mean, that's fantastic. And then they change, and you've got to be okay with them changing and evolving, and they're breathing all the time. For a long time,
content felt like a chore.
Yeah.
It felt like I was like the only piece of content that has never felt like a chore is getting on here with you. And I was saying to you, like the pod in many ways for me is almost an excuse just to come and hang out with you, and like I always enjoy our time together. And I think that's why it's never been a mission to get onto the pod. But it's always fluctuated. But now, like I'm back in that groove with video, and I'm loving it.
Awesome. Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you are following that golden thread, because that is what that golden thread is. Well, somebody asked me the other day, and it's actually brought on what I want to talk about today is at 50 years old, what skill would you have loved to have understood much earlier, or what action could you have adopted to much earlier? And the answer is meditation, but for a very specific reason. And it's based on a quote from Viktor Frankl, who was in the concentration camps in World War II. And he said that life is about stimulus and response. And when you are caught up in a stimulus and response without a gap between stimulus and response, you are reactive to the world. If you can create a gap between stimulus and response, your growth and freedom and opportunity to make better decisions lie in that gap. And then you got to ask yourself, what creates that gap? Meditation. Meditation is obviously about stillness and connecting with emotions that you want to connect with. But actually what meditation is truly doing is helping you identify the gap, because most people who don't meditate, or all people that don't meditate, don't know there's a gap. They don't realize that they're reactive to the world like a robot. They're not actually themselves to fully understand the question and answer it from a truly deep perspective of who they are. And so what meditation does, it forces you, one, to understand there's a gap, and two, start to widen it. And as you start to widen the gap, you start to realize that there's so much freedom, and I like to call it delicious energy, that lies in between stimulus and response. And if you're a meditator, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're not a meditator, you seem like it's some airy fairy thing but the point of which, when you are wide awake, but in that gap, you are in, I don't know, the most delicious space that you can think of, because you're so yourself without the noise, without the thought processes, with your brain being super relaxed, you know. And I was telling you offline, I've been watching a lot of X or Twitter, and it's quite like riveting, and it's very energetically taxing watching Twitter and X. I should stop doing it, but anyway, I'm doing it because of the war and all that sort of stuff. But when I start meditating afterwards, it takes me a few minutes to get away from that.
Sure, I can imagine
that process. And then as I get into that softness, my whole nervous system relaxes. I move into a very different space. And I don't even think about what's happening on X at all in any way. And I don't again until I get back onto X. It totally releases me. And so that stimulus and response is happening to us more and more and more and more. And the more stressed you are, the more stimulus and response, more stimulus and response. And some people's lives are continuously stimulus and response. The only time they get a break is if they drink, if they exercise, or if they go on holiday. Other than that, their life is 100% stimulus and response. And so if I had to think about the skill set that everybody should be picking up, or children should be picking up, the practice of developing a gap between stimulus and response to understand the difference of you reacting to the world or being proactive to the world. And so I just wanted to share that idea around meditation from a different angle to explain that your best decisions about your life lie in that gap. They don't lie in stimulus and response. They lie in the gap. And it was the other day I was meditating, and I got so many new ideas that I stopped meditating and started writing the ideas down. I went back into meditation because there was just such an influx of different ideas. And I think that's the thing, is those ideas are floating around us all the time. We're just never slowing down enough and not creating a gap enough to hear them and to action them. So
I love that. It's such a great skill to learn, not only from a meditation perspective, but also just as you go through your day, to be so much more aware of the things that trigger you into a certain preconditioned response. And of course, when you sit in meditation, you can spend more time thinking about or conditioning yourself to have a different response in the moment. Also, just because you're changing the nervous system that you're arriving with at that moment. But I saw this meditation from, I think it's a guy called Dr. K on YouTube, and he calls it stare at the wall. It's not, you don't have to go and stare at the wall, but the idea is just in your day, just go and sit down for 10 or 15 minutes and just sit. Like, don't think, like, don't try and force your thinking into anything. Don't
raw dog it. What's it called? Yeah,
raw dog it.
Raw dog it. Raw dog reality.
Just sit with no input. Close your eyes and just stay there. Just see if you can just stay there. And even that, that creates a bit of that gap for you to live into, because his reasoning, he's a psychiatrist, and his reasoning is that we don't have any time in the day to process what is happening to us, because you are just moving from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. But I'm trying to think, what would my skill be? Because like understanding the gap between stimulus and response is such a power skill, dude.
Well, it's everything, and my new talks are about decision making, and I'm starting to realize I'm actually talking about decision making. So how are you making decisions based on tomorrow's success and not yesterday's success? And most leaders are making decisions based on yesterday's success because they don't have a gap. That's all it is. When you get a gap, you'll get to see new opportunities and new decisions. But because you're not creating space for a gap.
Yeah. It speaks to your ability to live an intentional life versus a life on autopilot.
Exactly.
It speaks to your ability to create self-awareness throughout your day. It speaks to your ability to have situational awareness throughout your day. But it also requires
the results
effort.
Look, it requires effort. The biggest effort of meditation is the first 10 minutes. Because your brain doesn't want to go, it's addicted to its patterning. And so the first 10 minutes of deciding, and Dr. Joe always does it. He's like, when you sit for meditation, all of a sudden your bladder needs a toilet. And all of a sudden you've got to deal with that one issue that you haven't dealt with. And he's like, just like you speak to your dog, you say, whoa, Not now. We'll go just now. I'm going to take you out. Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. I'll take you out just now. Just relax. Just calm down. And he says, you've got to tame the wild horse. The wild horse has had its way with you its whole life. And now you want to tame it. It doesn't want to get tamed. So you've got to just tame it. And the first 10 minutes, and it's a decision I know I make. My brain's busy. I'm like, it's time to meditate. Like I almost force my thoughts into a stillness. And then after about 2-3 minutes, I find myself drifting again. And I've got to catch myself, force myself into stillness. I do it 2 or 3 times and then I'm in. But it's that first 10 minutes. It's almost like going to gym, that first press, it's always difficult, that first 10 minutes. And then after that, it's golden. That's the trick.
You know what also makes it difficult? So even though I've been doing it for years, this morning I did my meditation at 8 o'clock. And in my mind, 8 o'clock is productivity time. It's time to get to work. So in my mind, I'm like, how can you sit and meditate for half an hour when you're supposed to be working and making money in that time? Like, so that conversation starts happening. And then it makes it very difficult for me to go and also it's like, what are you really going to get from this meditation? Like, what are you really going to like manifest or what is it going to add to your life? Like maybe just skip this one and just do it again tomorrow. All those stories are running through my head when I'm not doing meditation outside of office hours.
Wow, I've never heard of that. Yeah, I mean, I'm meditating all the time, so I don't even care about office hours. I'm like, I need to meditate actually, because I also think that sometimes I make bad decisions if I'm not calm, too aggressively impatient. And the minute you come out of meditation, you're like, okay, I can just be calmer about that. I used to get that from smoking weed. When I was younger and I smoked weed, it used to give me that objectivity towards like what the process was. I would get that calmer insight, and now I get it through meditation. It's a different tool, but similar outcome because you get a very objective, calmer kind of perspective of what's going on. One of the principles I saw come out of the McKinsey's latest report for 2026, and it said 10 things leaders should do in the age of AI. You know what number 1 was? Meditate. And I've started to use it in my talk. Yeah, I've started to use this slide in my talks. McKinsey.
Jeez,
McKinsey's
what
number
a
1
sign
principle.
Of the times.
It's exactly why I use it in my talks. I'm like, you're talking about the most alpha-driven, ambitious consultancy in the world. And now the number 1 tool in the age of meditation, the age of AI is meditation. And and it's funny because, when I was in America, I was working with an insurance company. And I was talking about this high beta and the suffering mind, and the big boss was like smiling and then I came out and the big boss's assistant's like, thank God you said that. My boss is just high beta. And I was like, I thought your boss was enjoying it. He says, I think he was, but I'm sure he didn't realize we're talking about him. And it's like, most people are so stuck in that high beta. When I'm talking about it, they're like, everybody else. Like they're so caught up in their own high beta and suffering mind. They can't even see that they're like that, which is kind of a sad thing because, that sort of mindset has been what's made us successful. Pushing that hard has been the skill set. And now all of a sudden pushing that hard is such a ridiculous notion. It's like, why are you pushing so hard? Brute force of physicality got replaced by the Industrial Revolution. Brute force of intelligence is now being replaced by AI. And we know no more brute force. Actually, the brute force is actually being creative. The brute force is prioritizing opinion, judgment, and perspective. And it's a very difficult thing for people to adopt to, because you almost like in a brand new world with brand new rules, and these rules don't make sense. They almost seem airy-fairy. Like think about if you had to go back to the agricultural times and say to people, stop working the fields, go sit in offices and think all day. People are like, what shit are you talking about? What do you mean think all day? Like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. And now we're saying, look, and stop thinking so much and working so like outcome based and be creative. You're like, the creative was the shit job with the person sitting with a colored background in an office that was like about 2 offices where people were creative. Now, all of a sudden, that very skill is becoming what every organization needs to be thinking about,
Yeah. Well, even if you just think of the massive transformation in terms of like, who do you need to become for this entire thing? Like, where do you do that recalibration? You don't do it by just being busy
Doing more
and
of
just
it.
moving
Yeah,
on to the
exactly.
next and the next and the
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
You need to have a container for it. And so meditation, I'd say meditation, journaling, like all those self-awareness tools, they all are part of the product. Like
Yeah.
meditation is maybe one of the biggest movers and the biggest levers you can pull.
Breath work as well, I think. Breath work
But
will also help you.
journaling, breath work, all of that becomes part of you living into that space between stimulus and response. Because, geez, dude, I mean, if you told me, we all knew AI was coming, but if I knew to the extent to which it'll impact our world and how quickly it'll impact our world, it's, it's mind blowing.
It's
And
mind-boggling.
there's no space to decompress. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm lying. There is space to decompress. It's meditation and journaling and breath work
Sure,
and all that
but
kind of
there
stuff.
isn't for most
But
people.
we just don't
Yeah.
do it. We just don't do it
Yeah.
because exactly to that feeling that I was describing earlier, you almost feel like it's not productive if I'm doing that. It doesn't contribute to me creating more value in the world. I need to be busy. I need to be learning. I need to be. It's like
Calma, tranquilo, tranquilo. I mean, one of the things I've started to speak about in my talk is the hierarchy, the move from hierarchy to intelligence. The organizational structure is moving from CEO, head of departments, middle management, lower management, and staff to intelligence. And so why it's moving is because we built organizations to be able to transport information between sections. So the CEO and the execs make decisions, and that all that information is trickled down into the rest of the business. Today, we don't need people to transfer information. We have all the information sitting in a hub, your LLM, your SLM, whatever it may be. Your organization will start to set up its own level of intelligence. And what will move from hierarchy to having small teams headed up by architectures and small number of people with thousands of agents around them solving problems as and when they need to. And so we're moving from hierarchy to a flat line, a total flat line of teams all operating in their point of genius, accessing that intelligence from the organization. And when you start to realize that that is the future of organizational structures, then you got to say, well, what does it take to become an architect? And an architect becomes the new role. And architecture is really much more based on curiosity and creativity than it is on brute intelligence, because you have the brute intelligence behind you now. And so if you think you've got all that brute intelligence behind me, what am I going to do with this? And I made a video the other day about it. I sent it to you because I thought it was coming out in Spanish. Amazing. So Instagram says your video is now ready with all of its translations. And so I listened to me in Hindu. Bro, it is perfect. Perfect. The only thing that didn't get right is my head wobble. I'd love for them to get a head wobble in, not just my mouth and the voice happening. And in that video, what I explain is that we've now developed the world's most powerful ship on the ocean, and we are all captains of our own ships, and we need to now steer it. And we don't know where to steer it. And my biggest problem is, okay, I understand Fable, I understand Mythos, I understand ChatGPT 5.5, I understand the genius that they have. What am I going to do with it? I don't know what to do. I don't know what problem I need to solve.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes, how creative are you in finding the problem and then using the agents to help you solve them? And this becomes the curiosity machine that we all need to switch on within ourselves, different skill.
I'll add two things to what you said. So I did this video on Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. And actually, if you go look at how he runs NVIDIA, he runs it with a completely flat structure. So
That's right.
For him, he has lots of direct reports, but he doesn't want to do lots of one-on-ones. I'll read it to you here. So he said that the people around the CEO should require very little emotional support. They should be already exceptional in their craft, able to make decisions, carry responsibility, and move work forward without guidance. And that the structure is a signal that says if you are close to the center, you are expected to carry your own weight. So I think that's already, a big part of how these kind of companies are running, is that they see that flat is important because you can't wait for a decision to travel down that hierarchy, like you said. It has to be distributed so people can just make decisions. Even more important when everything is moving so quickly and we don't have time to really sit back and wait. So it's important for leaders to think about how are you creating certain parameters for your team to operate within, where they can go and run the experiment and do the thing without waiting for your decision, because the more centralized the power is, the slower the ship is going to move.
Have you seen the gross profit margin that they create at NVIDIA?
I haven't. It must be ridiculous,
Over
though.
70%.
Yeah.
Over 70% gross profit. I mean, it is a mind-boggling business. Mind-boggling.
Dude, but I'm such a fan of Jensen Huang. Like,
Yeah.
when I was going through this video, I was reading up a lot on him. And, he's just such a likable guy. Like, when you see him on stage, he's always dressed well. Like, he looks cool. And the way he presents himself is just cool. Like, he has that charisma aspect.
Yeah.
But then also, he is actually one of the companies driving the AI boom. But he's been very vocal about companies not laying off people because of the AI boom.
Yeah.
He says that if you're a CEO laying off people because of AI, it means that you have a lack of creativity.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting. And as I was making the video, I thought, let me just go and research whether NVIDIA has laid off people because of AI, and they haven't.
No. Because you want to find new things to do with the AI and people. Yeah. What you're doing when you fire people is you're saying, this is our business model. We're not going to grow in any other way. Let's just get rid of the dead wood. Like, no, but then that's a very linear way of applying yourself. Like, what are the new opportunities you're not utilizing? Maybe you can get rid of people that had old skills and rehire people with new skills, or train your people. But I agree, and I was listening to All In podcast, and they were showing that you aren't losing jobs. You actually gain there's job lot. There's less jobs. I mean, there's more jobs needing new types of skills than there are people being let go. So there's this fallacy of we're losing lots of jobs. People are, no, if you got the right leader, you apply those skill sets very differently.
Listen, I think that's a great place to end the pod. Great convo, all the way from Bashar to AI to meditation. A very typical Expansive pod. It was really good.
Well, I look forward to next week's podcast, where you'll take us through NVIDIA's incredible rise and leadership requirements. He has become a superhero in the world. What I love most about Jensen Huang is he eats street food worth $1 with other smart and intelligent and super wealthy people. Have you seen that? He's eating street food all around the world. He's eating street food here, street food there. He's like, I love that. You know what that is? That for me is the modern leader. It's you're humble, you're down to earth, you're practical, you don't speak in verbose terms, you don't think you're better than other people. It's so beautiful to watch this motion happen. He deserves it. Good for him, because when he started this company, people don't want to listen to him. They didn't want to give him any light of day, and now he's got a turnover larger than, I think, what is it? Europe, like I think his turnover is like bigger than like 4 countries in Europe. I mean, that's so ridiculous.
I think they were sitting on close to 5 trillion when I was looking at the video.
I think that must be more than half of Europe, bro, all put together. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's insane.
Anyway, well, we look forward to the next podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this expansive discussion about all things that help us become more expansive, whether it's aliens, AI, meditation, or leadership skill sets of the future. We cover it all here because we are expansive. Eric, thank you so much for holding the space. And I look forward to holding space for you next week when you talk about Jensen Huang and his principles of developing a company like he has. Until next week, stay expansive.
Ciao.